a student, just type it down. I'm a student. Just type it down something so that I get to know that how many of you are a student and how many of you are new to the soul space. So just let me know about that as well. And I just wanted to tell you that from today we are going to start a series. That series will be on the blockchain basics, and it will consist of around 7 to 8 uh, like videos where we'll talk about blockchains, we'll talk about what blockchain is, we'll talk about how blockchain works, we'll talk about everything about the blockchain space. So we'll start from very beginning, and then we'll move to the advanced version of the blockchain. So today we'll talk about what is the introduction to the blockchain. So we'll talk about the introduction to the blockchain, and then we'll move to the next parts that we have. Okay, so we'll talk about it one by one. So Hardik is a Flutter developer with blockchain learning, SOL, Truffle. Okay, that's great. Happy to see you, Hardik, over here. Okay. What about others? Okay. Just enter. Okay, cool. So I guess a lot of people are new to this space, and there are certain people who have been into this space for a long period of time. So I guess let's get started with our today's live, and we'll talk about the blockchain basics. Then we'll move to the advanced version one by one. So today we'll be talking about what exactly the blockchain is, and we'll talk about the different functionality of the blockchain. We'll talk about how blockchain came into picture, and we'll talk about all those things. Okay. So before we start learning, and yeah, that's great. Yeah, if you are learning about blockchain, that is very good because everyone want to learn about blockchain, and blockchain is one of the fastest growing ecosystem that we have as of now. So if you are like new to this space, and if you want to learn a lot of things, I guess then you are at the right path, and this is the right time to get started with the blockchain. Okay, so we'll this is the best thing that you are going to do now. Okay, if you are entering the blockchain space, let me share you one article so that you can also learn about these articles. Planning to get my dot eth. That's good, yeah. If you are buying dot ethereum, that's great, yeah. Everyone should buy it. If you are into the crypto space, you should hold something which is related to the crypto space. See, if you ask me, I have a lot of NFTs. I do buy some metaverse gaming for ecosystems. I do buy some crypto. So it's like if you are into the space, try to buy new things. Okay, try to explore this universe. Okay, because this is the one universe that is growing, and if you are new to this space, I guess this is the right time to get started with. Okay, now let's start with our today's live. So in today's live we are going to talk about what is blockchain. Okay, so let me share my screen as well so that I can showcase you few articles that I read, and we'll also talk about in blockchain in detail. Let me know once my screen is visible to everyone. Let me know once my screen is visible to everyone. Just type it down if you are able to see my screen. Okay, got it. I guess it is visible. Cool. So this is the curriculum. This is the like next of 7 weeks of content that we are going to talk about in the blockchain space. We'll start with what is blockchain. Then we'll talk about cryptography and Bitcoin. We'll talk about consensus, algo, wallets, exchanges. We'll talk about blockchain 2.0. We'll talk about smart contracts. We'll talk about tokenization. Even we also talk about how to raise fund. and how to start your own product. We'll also talk about what are the different types of blockchain network that we have, and we also talk about what are the different use cases of the blockchain. So we'll talk about all these three, look, all these 7 topics in next 7 weeks, and every week we'll come up with one new topics and we'll talk about it in detail. Today we'll start with what is blockchain. So we'll start with introduction to the blockchain. We'll try to understand what exactly the blockchain is so that we get a fair idea about the blockchain space. So we'll try to understand the basic version of the blockchain. Cool. So this is the one thing that we are going to talk about today in simple language. So if somebody asks you, so before we talk about the blockchain, I just wanted to know from you that what do you know about the blockchain. It just, if anyone can type it down, that will be great. So if you can type it down, like what do you know about the blockchain, or what is your like when you listen blockchain, what is the first thing that comes in your mind? So it will be a very good thing if you can type it down. Decentralization, okay, great. See, that is the one thing. So whenever we talk about blockchain, the first thing that comes in everyone's mind is decentralization. Secondly, it comes, people talk about that is a laser system, okay, where we have a decentralized laser, okay. So when we talk about blockchain, we try to understand that it is a decentralized thing. It is a decentralized ledger where we keep our data. We'll talk about digital ledger, that it is where we can store our data digitally, and it is, and we also talk about one more thing that is called transparency. Like it is highly transparent ecosystem where you can see what is happening inside the ecosystem, okay. So there are a few factors that we look in. One is the decentralization. We look at it as a decentralized ledger, and we also look at it as a transparency. Even there is one more concept that we look at, is called peer-to-peer ecosystem. Is P2P ecosystem where data is distributed between the multiple parties. Instead of holding the data to one party, we have data that is distributed to multiple parties, which means it is a peer-to-peer ecosystem, okay. So in simple language, it is a decentralized peer-to-peer network where one block has a store in other blocks. This is what somebody has written. Like, but let me tell you in detail. Okay, so in simple language, blockchain is a kind of database which is used to store the data in the form of blocks. Okay, so blockchain is a database where data is stored in the form of blocks, and every block is connected with one another through a chain. So that is why we call it a blockchain, because data is stored in the blocks and every block is connected with one another with a chain, and that is what we call it a blockchain, which where data is stored in the form of blocks which are chained together, okay. This is the one of the simplest definition is of about blockchain. So if somebody asks you what is blockchain, so you can simply tell them that blockchain is a kind of database where data is stored in the form of blocks, and every block is connected with one another through a chain, and that's why we call it a blockchain, okay. This is the easiest definition of the blockchain, okay. Let me know if you're able to understand this easy definition. Type yes if you understand this easy definition of the blockchain. uh, Okay, so if you look at the definition over here, it is written that blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. Or if you look at the blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transaction that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer system on the blockchain. So blockchain is has a different functionality. What means blockchain is a decentralized system where data is stored in the form of blocks, and these blocks are chained together. Okay, so there is too much noise of here. Can you please reduce? Is it the? Let me know once it is okay. Is it okay now? Just let me know. Yeah, okay, got it. Cool. So we understood the basic definition of the blockchain. Okay, if we look at the how blockchain really works. Okay, so I was talking about this blockchain concept that there is a block which has a data. This data is like every block is connected with one another with a chain mechanism. Every block has a hash key. The hash key of the new block is interlinked with the hash key of the previous block. If you look at here, okay, the hash key, let's say first block is having a hash key of 1234, then the second block will also have a previous hash and the new hash key, which means that every new block which is created will have the hash key of the previous block to verify and validate the data, so that nobody can duplicate or nobody can hack the system. Okay, that's why this blockchain concept is created, so that nobody can hack the data. That's why data validation happens. Okay, if we look at the hash key, here we have a hash key of 1234, and this new block which is created has a hash key of 1234, which means the new block's hash key is interlinked with the hash key of the previous block. This is how data is stored. Okay, and this is how data validation is done. So people look for the hash keys. Okay, they look for the hash keys. If the new blocks and the previous block hash key is same, in that case people will say that it is a right block. If new blocks come up with a new hash key which is not linked with the previous block hash key, in that case it is a false block. So nobody will add that false block in the blockchain, which means somebody is trying to scam the system, because you are adding a false block in the ecosystem. Okay, and that's why the data will neglect and your transaction will fail. So this is how the blockchain ecosystem works. This is how data validation is done. This is how blockchain system is built, so that there is no data duplication that happen, there is no data fraud that happen, and there is nobody can hack the system. Okay, so this is the major benefits that we get in the blockchain. Number one, so we will talk about the benefit that we get is like, first benefit that we get it, that a blockchain is a digital ledger, means it is a digital ledger where we store the data, like in the form of records, like whatever transactions that are happening, we record all the transactions on that particular digital ledger. The first thing, that is, we store the transaction in a digital ledger in the form of block in like in a blockchain. So it is like a digital ledger where you store the data. Now there is one more thing that is there, which is called data is encrypted, which means whatever data you write, it will be encrypted. Okay, it is not like that key you write abc, so it will be like abc only. Okay, the data will be encrypted. Okay, so all the data which is written in a digital ledger, it is encrypted data, which means nobody can hack the data that is written inside the ecosystem. Okay, for that, if you can show you the same thing over a blockchain, how this blockchain really work. Okay, for me, for that, let me open Anders. Okay, let me open the blockchain demo for you, so that you can relate it how these things work. Okay, so let's say if I write anything, let's say I am writing any data. Let's say I'm writing over Himanshu creator blockchain. So I'm adding some data on this particular blockchain. Okay, then I can do for me, let me create a new block for that. I guess it will be a concept of blocks. Okay, so let's see, I'm adding a data over here. Let's say I'm adding a data called Himanshu Sachan creator blockchain. Then we add something called YouTube. So let's say we can add the data. Now this data need to be validated, and to validate the data, we need to mine it. Okay, so miners will be there who will validate the data. So once we click on the mine button, it will validate this data, and once the data is validated, it will give you a hash key. This hash key will be recorded on the blockchain. Okay, so whenever somebody wanted to see the data, they have to look for this hash key, and then this hash key will give you this particular data for you, which means whatever data you will write, it will give you only this hash key. Okay, so this hash key will be saved in the database. Okay, which means that this data will not be saved, only this hash key will be saved. Okay, which means all the data, whichever data you write inside the block, that will be encrypted in the form of hash key, and that hash key will be saved in the blockchain. Okay, so this is how blockchain concept really work. Okay, where you add the data, and then you whatever data you will add, it will be converted into a encrypted key, and that encrypted key will be saved inside the blockchain. Okay, that's why we call it as a that if you look at it, says that encrypted information, which means whatever information is written inside the block, it will be encrypted. Okay, which means nobody can see what is written inside the that particular block. Okay, so that is the power of the blockchain ecosystem. Okay, until I don't tell them the hash key, nobody will ever find out what has happened inside the blockchain. Okay, so I have to tell them, this hash key is there, and then they will look after that hash key, and based on the hash key they will get to know how much transaction is done, who has done the transactions, from where the money is sent to whom, and you will get all the information that you want to know. The third feature that we have in the blockchain called peer-to-peer system, which means whatever data is there. Okay, so as sorry to know you, but what is the purpose of this video? Means you blockchain for free or this paid? It is for free, no? If it is paid, you have to pay money for that, no? If you have paid money, I guess I don't know. Okay, cool. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I was talking about peer-to-peer ecosystem. Now, what is peer-to-peer ecosystem? Now, peer-to-peer ecosystem means, which means, like, let's say whatever data is written. Okay. Now, every data is stored in the form of blocks. So it will create a new database for you. So every database that is created, it will be duplicated and shared with everyone who is the part of the ecosystem. Let's say there are 100 people who are the part of the ecosystem. Then all the 100 people will have the a copy of original data, which means that everyone will hold a copy of the original data. In case of any duplication or in case of any scam, people will get to know that this data is duplicated or this data is manipulated. Why? Because everyone has the original copy. Okay, and that's why it is required that data need to be validated by all the person who hold that original data with themselves, and for that they do the mining. Okay, so mining is a concept that is used to validate and verify the data. Okay, and for that we need the approval from everyone who is a part of the ecosystem. They will validate the data and they will say that this data is correct, and then only the data will be added inside the blockchain. Okay, and this is done with the peer-to-peer ecosystem. This feature that we have, peer-to-peer ecosystem, which means data can easily be like whatever data we have, it is distributed to everyone, and the data will be validated on by everyone who is a part of the ecosystem. And if somebody finds out that this is a false data, then it will be considered as a false block, and data will be that particular block will be removed from the blockchain. Okay, the next feature that we have called data sharing. The blockchain can be used for more than the transfer of currency. It can also be used, so which means here we have data sharing, which means you can uh, you can record the transactions. It can not, it can be used for multiple factors. It is not like that you can only use blockchain for as a currency. You can also use the blockchain for other applications, like you can create NFTs, you metaverse, you can create collectibles, you can create cryptocurrency, you can create a lending, borrowing, exchange. You can do a lot of things that with the help of blockchain, because it is a database. Okay, with the help of database, you can create any number of application that is done. Okay, any application that uses the blockchain, we call them as a decentralized application. In simple language, we call it as d apps, which is the full form of d apps, is decentralized application. So any application that uses the blockchain as a technology, we call them as a decentralized application. Okay, and the last and the final part, there is a decentralization, which means whatever data is written, it is visible to everyone who's a part of the ecosystem, which means it is transparent to everyone. Which means, okay, let's say if there are 100 or 1,000 people who are there in the blockchain ecosystems, those 100 and 1,000 people will have the access to the data, and they can see what is happening inside the ecosystem. Okay, now why do we need a blockchain? Okay, we need blockchain because there are certain problem that we have in a centralized system. Okay, when we talk about banks, okay, where you go to banks, okay, you don't know what banks are doing with your money. Okay, they to whom they are giving loans, who are doing the frauds, who are like who are defaulting. You know, don't know anything until they reveal it. Okay, until they reveal it that this particular person has made this number of fraud, or this is the money which can't be recovered. Okay, so they do something called NPA, non-performing assets. Every quarter they release a report which explain that what is the amount that can't be recovered. So we call them as a non-performing assets. Okay, so it's like whatever data is there in the centralized system, you can't see it. even it can be like it can be anything, it can be in politics, it can be anywhere. Okay, so whatever the data written inside it in the centralized system can't be visible to everyone. Okay, but when we use in a blockchain ecosystem, when we build the same thing on a blockchain, which means whatever is happening inside the ecosystem, let's say if I am giving a loan to somebody, if I'm taking loan from somebody, if I am borrowing money from somebody, everything will be visible on a blockchain based ecosystem, which means everything that is happening inside the ecosystem can be seen by anyone who's a part of the ecosystem. And that is what we call it, the decentralization and transparency, which means it is a decentralized system and transparent, which means anyone can see the transactions. Okay, but there are certain things that you need to know, because not every blockchain is public. So we have a different types of blockchain that is there in the market. One is the private blockchain, then we have a public blockchain, and then we have something called hybrid blockchain. So we have three types of blockchains. Okay, and we'll talk about this types of blockchain and what are the features each blockchain has in the next class. When we talk about the types of blockchains, we'll talk about these different types of blockchain over there. But currently we need to understand what exactly the blockchain is all about. A hybrid blockchain, basically it's a mix of private and public blockchain. So this is a new concept that is recently introduced in the market, which is a mix of both. It is not completely private, it's not completely public, it's a hybrid blockchain. So I guess this is a new concept that is built, that is in the market. Okay, so lot of new companies are starting using this hybrid blockchain. A hi-fi blockchain, if you know the hi-fi blockchain is a hybrid blockchain. Hi-fi, it's a example. If you look at there is something, there is a blockchain called hi-fi blockchain, I guess. Hi-fi, so hi-fi is a hybrid blockchain. Hi-fi, hi-fi hybrid blockchain. Yeah, this is the hi-fi blockchain.com, which is a hybrid blockchain ecosystem. So hi-fi is a network of blockchain for hybrid finance. So it's a mix of both CFI and DeFi. And you can see a lot of details over there, the teams. So this blockchain is built by, if you know, the Rohit Nagpal is a very top 30 influencer in India. So this is he is the chief blockchain architecture over here. Sinam Arora is the CEO of the company. You can see the details. This is an Indian product if you want to read more about it. So they mix up both. It's a CFI, DeFi based ecosystems where you can see. Is there relation in hi-fi and DeFi? Hi-fi, I guess this is a new ecosystem again. I need to look into hi-fi because I haven't read about like detail about hi-fi, because but it is also a new thing that is came into market recently only. So I need to check about hi-fi. But hi-fi is a separate blockchain, I guess. Hi-fi is a new blockchain that they are building. Okay, so it's not related to DeFi. DeFi is a like a decentralized finance ecosystem that uses a different blockchain to create things. Okay. Uh, Please, we'll explain the public private hybrid blockchain in next class, because it's like that's why we're keeping it a very small topics every class, and that's why we have kept this 7 week series where we'll talk about each topic every day. So today is just a normal introduction to the blockchain. Next class we'll talk about, the next topic will be what will be the next topic? Let me see the next topic. So next topic will be the history of blockchain, and then we have types of network. So in types of network, we'll talk about the types of blockchain that we have. Okay, and then we'll talk about features of blockchain. So we have 4 topics for this week. Okay, how to create own blockchain. See, if you want to create your and how to create a see, if you want to create a blockchain, you need to know that what type of blockchain you want to create, whether you want to create a private blockchain or public blockchain. You need to know codings. If you don't know coding, you can't create it. Okay, so you need to provide you need to learn how solidity works, you need to know what is the rust, you need to know a lot of coding language, and then based on that you can create the blockchain. So if you don't know coding, I guess then you can't create it. Okay, for same goes with the D apps. So if you want to create a decentralized application, you need to learn coding, you need to learn solidity, rust, golang. There are a lot of languages that are there which are used to create this decentralized applications. So you need to learn this blockchain based languages that are there in the market. Okay, How safe is blockchain? If you compare the banking ecosystem with the blockchain based ecosystem, safety concerns, if you look at the, it is blockchain based ecosystem are very safe than the banking ecosystem. Okay, but there are a lot of things that are still in progress. Okay, so it will take time for a mass adoption. Okay, plus the major problem that we have in the blockchain ecosystem, that is it is not a regulated market, it is a not regulated thing, it is a irregulated market. If you're looking as an investment perspective, if you're looking it as an normal technology wise, in that case blockchain is one of blockchain will leads by the other ecosystems that are there in the market. Okay, but if you're looking at as an investment perspective, in that case uh, blockchain needs more time, it will take more time to grow, and it will take more time when like blockchain will become more popular in the world, so more people will get to know about it, so it will take time, so adoption will take time, so you have to wait for it. Okay, so currently we don't have that wide number of adoption in the market, so adoption is not that much, so that's why you have to wait for it. Okay. Notes, I guess, sorry, I can't do like I can't provide the notes. That can't be possible. That's why we are keeping it live. So you have to join live, then only you can learn about it. You can ask me questions live, because I can't share this data with you. So that is not possible. Sorry for that. Cool. So we talked about blockchain today. So let me know if you're able to understand the blockchain ka concept. If you are understand, just if you are able to understand it, just type yes. You can play with this. If you want to play around with blockchain concept, you can use this link for play around. This website is very good. If you want to play around with the blockchain concept, you can easily play around. So they have something called blocks. You can see how hash key is created. You can see how hash key is created. So every time you write the data, even you write a small data, if you write high, it will be a 128 bit of hash key. If you write a big data, it will be a same kind of hash key. So hash key will be the small, even the data is small or data is large. So you can write n number of data, you can write a small data, the hash key will remain the same. Okay, so this is the benefit of hash key thing. Okay, why? Because we have a very if instead of it will not store much data for much space in the database, because it is just a 256 bit of a small key that is generated for a large data and for a small data. Okay, so it can be the large data, it can be small data. Okay, everything will be like here you can see how things are done. Okay, so like if you look at this blockchain demo. Okay, so even you write a small data, you write a big data, the hash key will be the same. Okay, so you can play around with this hash key generation, you can play around with blocks creation, you can understand the concept of mine, but we'll go more detail in the upcoming classes when we read about what is mining, staking. Then when we talk about those things, you will get a fair understanding that what is mining thing, what is staking thing. We'll talk about these details in detail. Okay, in upcoming session that we are going to do. Cool. So this is for now. We talked about blockchain basics. We talked about what blockchain is exactly, so that you get a fair idea about the blockchain concept. Tomorrow we'll talk about the history of blockchain. We'll talk about what is the different versions of blockchain that we have, how blockchain started. We'll talk about all those things, and then we'll talk about types, and then we'll talk about the implementation of the blockchain. So these are the 4 topics that we are covering this week. Okay, and then we will meet the next week with the new topics. Okay, so hope let me know how you like, whether you like the this complete class or not. Just let me know about it as well. Just will be good if you can tell me. Yeah, that will be great. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, yes, Prem, Arjun, Omer, anyone who joined the class, because I can't see lot of Nisa. Thank you, Nisa, for joining in. Everyone who joined the class, thank you for joining in, and hope to see you tomorrow with again with a new topic, and we'll try to learn a new concept tomorrow. And if you are in YouTube, I guess I will drop the link of my YouTube. You can easily go and like that is the only thing that you can do for me. It's not, I'm not asking for the money. You can easily go to YouTube channel, and you can go and subscribe to YouTube channel. I can drop the link of the YouTube channel over here. If you can do that much, I guess that will be good for me. I guess that is only thing that I need from you. Okay. So I will send you the channel link. Okay, so you can easily find it out over there. Yeah, I'm sending you the link of this. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Rahil. Everyone, thank you for joining in. I just shared my YouTube channel link. You can hit a subscribe over there, and see you in the next topic, and hope to learn in blockchain in detail. And also I want you to do one thing. You can I will once I will add all the links that we have explored today in the description of the YouTube video, so you can get the links from there only. Okay, so whatever link that is there, like I can also share this link of this blogs. Okay, so this notion link. Okay, you can also get the access to this notion link as well. So if you want to read, and you can also come up with an if you have any questions, so you can also come up with the questions by after reading that what topic we are going to discuss today. Okay, and based on the topic you can come up with the questions, and we can discuss about those things as well. Okay, so I will share all these links on the description of the YouTube video, so you can get it from there. So bye everyone, thank you for joining in. Love to see you again in the next topic. Bye bye everyone.